From icy expeditions at the edge of the world to fairy tale sailings through castle-dotted rivers, cruising offers a front row seat to some of Earth's most extraordinary places. I'm Angie Orth, and today I'm back with cruise expert Meena Thiruvengadam, who has explored some of the world's most unforgettable itineraries. She's sharing her top bucket list journeys to the most amazing destinations you can experience on water. If you're ready to chart a course for pristine polar exploration or river cruises that glide past quaint storybook towns, this episode will help you plot your next great escape. What's the most unique or off the beaten path destination you've ever cruised to?
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, you get there and you're like, there is nothing here. And yet I love it. And it's the most amazing place. I would actually, every time we landed, I would turn on my phone and look for a Wi-Fi signal and then take joy in the fact that I didn't find one.
None to be found?
Yes.
Just penguins and whales?
Just penguins, whales, seals. I mean, it felt like being in a completely other universe.
Tell me about the ship that you took for your Antarctica adventure.
Yes. So I was on the Viking Polaris and I could live on that ship for a very long time. It's a small ship, accommodates under 300 people. There's a few different restaurants on board. There is an amazing Nordic spa with a snow room. It's a great place for whale watching. What we would do is we would do our itineraries every day. We would come back. We would spend between 3 and 5 in the spa. And then we would go up for what we called office hours, which is also known as happy hour. And then we would eventually go to dinner. There was a great bar that's kind of speakeasy style. So there would be stories from the crew members on board. And some of them, it was like, you were an Olympic kayaker. Your last job was doing migrant water rescues for the UN. You're just like, wow, how am I getting to be in your presence and hear these stories? And then the food is fantastic. Great restaurants. As a vegetarian, I found tons of food. They have an Italian restaurant where every time I am on a Viking ship, I'm like, I'm going back there and I'm eating the exact same thing. Please be on the menu still. But it was just kind of great. It was like being in the most relaxed kind of Nordic-style hotel at sea. I tried to tell my sister that I went camping because it was an outdoorsy experience and itinerary. And she looked at me kind of like you're looking at me like, oh girl, this was a luxury hotel.
She like called you on your business?
But I'm like, I've got my nice window. It opens halfway. So it's like
I was
being outside. And she's like, no, you do not have a luxury suite. And we had a very spacious luxury suite. It was not horrible to share with my sister on that one at all. And yeah, it was really nice and clean, beautiful gym, beautiful yoga studio. And you'll feel really balanced when you can do yoga and balance when you're on the water like that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it was great. Lots of little spaces and nooks and crannies to like have drinks or read books. Again, like if I'm going to live on a cruise ship, that one is my top choice.
What's an incredible cruise itinerary that is often overlooked in favor of more popular ones?
I will say the Great Lakes. Now, it seems a little odd to sail the Great Lakes. I'll admit that I had never thought about it until that assignment came my way. I'm also not exactly nature girl. I haven't camped. I'm not the first person to jump in the water, all of those things. So when I went, I was like, all right, this is going to be a little different. There's a lot of hiking. We're not going to be going to, European capitals as I normally might. But I absolutely loved it. There really is no better way to experience the Great Lakes than on water.
Yeah.
Right? You get to see and feel just how big they are, just how, amazing this piece of nature is, and just how it's magical it can be to reconnect with nature. There were a lot of places we went where it was like the landscapes from the group of 7 painters from Canada. So it's wild when you're just like, I've seen that painting and now I've seen it in reality. To be able to visit these tiny little Canadian towns and places that are harder to access in the US, like Mackinac Island, no cars, just kind of a nice spot. I think that was really amazing. And then a lot of these cruise ships carry everything you would need for fun. So you've got Zodiacs, you've got kayaks, you've got paddle boards. And I mean, it really is like the ultimate day at the lake, but it lasts about a week and a half. I was surprised at how much I loved the hiking and the nature and then being in the tiniest little towns where there really was nothing to do, but just kind of soak it all in and relax.
Okay, so for cruise veterans like yourself who have seen it all, what cruise do you recommend that would still wow them?
Definitely Antarctica.
Okay.
Also the Galapagos Islands. And then coastal Norway
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
Fjords and such?
fjords and northern lights. And again, I don't love the cold, but I love northern Norway. And there's something about being able to see the northern lights up there. It was probably the most vivid that I've ever seen them.
Oh.
And it's just a beautiful itinerary, beautiful, cute little towns, a lot of history to learn about. And I think it's one of those things where, especially when you think about cruising Europe, we don't really think about Norway. We think about the Mediterranean, but one of the best trips I did was on Hurtigruten, and it was the Hurtigruten ferry, which basically is a real ferry, right? So there are some stops where it's like, this is a 10-minute stop. Do not get off the ship. This is just for cargo or something like that. But you meet a lot of people who are just taking the ferry because, you know, their dad lives a few towns down, so they take the ferry to see them, or they're going, you know, to do their big grocery shop or what. There were so many like grandmothers sitting there knitting. It felt like an authentically Norwegian experience. And I'm convinced it was because so many of the people we met talked about doing this when they were younger, and now they're coming back and they're just doing it for a couple of days because they had such good memories of it. And it was one of those things where it was like, this is a truly unique experience that you can't get anywhere else. And it comes with a side of beautiful fjords and northern lights from sea and just great starry nights. And it's just amazing.
What is one unmissable dining experience on a ship that you would recommend people splash out on?
Definitely. So I think a lot of these like tasting menus, things like my absolute favorite is the Princess 360 dining experience, just because it is like seeing a play in you know, an IMAX theater. So that would be the biggest one. But there are also a lot of other ones you can do. So I would say that, you know, when you're thinking about, do I want to skip the buffet and pay extra for the specialty dining experience? It's easy to say, well, no, because this food is already included. But some of those extras have been the most memorable dining experiences I've had. So I would say treat yourself, whether it's to one specialty dinner at that romantic Italian restaurant, or if it's the chef table, or if it's the place where they really focus on creative meals, whatever it is, treat yourself to that one meal out, and you won't regret it. And years from now, you won't even remember what you paid for it. You're just going to remember the excellent meal and whatever beautiful experience you had.
That's so true. That's what I always say. Money comes back.
But you're always going to make more of it.
You'll make some more, and then you can spend it on another cruise. Cruises aren't just for oceans. What is a bucket list river cruise that people should think about?
Okay, so my absolute favorite river cruise is the Rhine River, Amsterdam to Basel. First off, Amsterdam is amazing. I love the city, the architecture, the museums. Just wandering around and getting lost is my absolute favorite thing there. So why wouldn't I want to start a cruise there? And then the Rhine River is like sailing through a fairy tale. There are castles. You'll go by the town that inspired Beauty and the Beast. Every time you get off and walk around in port, you're just like, well, I am now in a new fairy tale. And it's just literally like if you've grown up watching those fairy tales, if you're, you know, grew up on Disney, you're going to love seeing it. You're going to see hints of those things that you love in all the ports that you pull into. And it's just, you know, beautiful on blue sunny days. You get to go to places like Strasbourg, which I absolutely love. I think it is a hidden gem in France. It just gives me all the vibes that I want from Paris, when now Paris kind of has that big city feel to it. But it's really just you sail through a fairy tale and then you get to Basel. And if you're in Basel in the summertime, I think that is Europe's best kept summer secret. Everybody has these wicklefish floating bags. So they will like put their clothes in there, roll them up, and then just float down the river. And you see all these little colorful dots just floating down the river. So to me, my absolute favorite thing is to come into Basel on a river ship during summer and see all of these people, and they're just like in there and they've got their suits in their bags and they're just floating down the river and they're going to change and go into their office. And it's so much of like a summer beach town. But because it's on a river, there's no sand everywhere. So you don't get sand in your shoes. You can go see museums and not have to worry about any of that. And it's just like a great place to land after sailing through fairy tales.
You make that sound very appealing.
Oh, it is. I would go on that cruise again. And all of those little fairy tale towns, the Alsatian towns, are just great. And you can just easily walk from port to anywhere. So you can do excursions, but there are a few days where I'm like, you know, I just kind of want to wander around and get lost and look for nothing and find something magical.
Meena, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you, our listeners, for being with us. If you're planning a cruise or a trip, be sure to connect with a AAA travel advisor. Check out AAA.com/travel or visit your local branch. This podcast is a production of Auto Club Enterprises. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave us a review. I'm Angie Orth. Thank you for traveling with AAA.